Good evening. Jess Wilson has labelled Daniel Andrews and Jacinta Allen criminals during an off-the-cuff radio interview this afternoon. The opposition leader immediately walked back the comments after initially comparing the two former premiers to gangland figure Mick Gatto.
Calling for a faster start to a construction royal commission, Jess Wilson perhaps went too fast, appearing to make a risky claim about recent former premiers Jacinta Allen and Daniel Andrews.
Victorians can hear from the very people that have allowed their money to be siphoned off into criminals like Daniel Andrews, Jacinta Allen, Mick Gatto, John Setka. These people need to be called before a royal commission.
The apparent slip-up quickly cleared up.
You just said then that Daniel Andrews and Jacinta Allen are criminals?
No, I said they need to be called before a royal commission.
7 News contacted Daniel Andrews and Jacinta Allen, but no reply. John Setka's response: corruption allegations in his industry are a load of shit.
It'd almost be funny if it wasn't your money.
The Liberals' new online campaign digs up pot plants.
There's at least $100,000 of taxpayer-funded greenery at the North East Link alone,
Claiming $1.6 million was spent on plant hire and maintenance at the offices of Rail Projects Victoria. Into Parliament, the opposition brought their own plants, quickly pruned by the Speaker.
I would ask the attendants to remove the props.
The culprits also sent to the garden.
Member for Berwick and the member for Warrandyte will leave the chamber for an hour and a half.
The stunt worked, Premier Ben Carroll agreeing it's not a good use of taxpayer money, asking his department to end the contract.
Would you like a fiddle leaf fig with that?
Blake Johnson, 7 News.
A man charged with mowing down 2 children in a misguided vigilante attack is accused of targeting the wrong boys. Geordie Wright has the details, and Geordie, he's appeared in a Mildura court.
And Mitch, it was fiery when the 57-year-old Andrew Bryan was granted bail this afternoon. The auto electrician is accused of using his car as a weapon, hunting down and striking 2 12-year-old boys at almost 80 kilometres an hour. He thought the pair, who were on e-bikes, had vandalised his wife's real estate agency. But today, police told the court the boys had been ruled out from any offence at that business. One of the boys suffered multiple broken limbs, including a broken sternum and ribs, as well as a collapsed lung in the mall attack. The other boy suffered a concussion. The bail decision was met with vocal anger, with Mr. Bryan having to sneak out of court through a back door. His strict bail conditions include being banned from driving and a 9 p.m. curfew. Mitch.
Geordie Wright, thank you. The world's largest wildlife vaccination program is underway across Victoria tonight in a bid to save the state's little penguins from the H5 bird flu. The deadly disease has now been detected on Phillip Island, and authorities are in a race against time.
The home to the world's largest colony of little penguins has just recorded its first case of the deadly H5 bird flu. It wasn't in a penguin, but authorities are now scrambling to protect the species, which attracts hundreds of thousands of tourists to Phillip Island every year.
Around 5,000 penguins will be vaccinated in the coming weeks.
This is the biggest wildlife vaccination project in the world.
This operation is not without risk. We'll be not only vaccinating these animals, but we'll be microchipping them as well.
The birds will need 2 doses of the vaccine within 2 weeks.
This is going to be a really challenging task, but we are in breeding season, and at the Penguin Parade at the moment, about 700 penguins are coming up the beach every night.
We can expect to see mass mortalities in wildlife in Victoria if and when it outbreaks.
A risk not being taken lightly. For the first time, there'll be no poultry at the Melbourne Royal Show next month.
There is no current outbreak or confirmed cases in poultry, so it is very much a precautionary measure. Really difficult decision, but absolutely the right one to make at this point in time.
But the public can still see the world-famous penguins.
The Penguin Parade will remain open. This experience here at St Kilda will remain open.
The program will also help to inform a broader vaccine rollout, prioritising protection for the most vulnerable species, including those in zoos. The vaccines won't stop the disease, but will lessen the effects on birds who contract it. Ava Cashmore, 7 News.
What began as a joke about melons has turned into no laughing matter for the Prime Minister, with the possibility of a federal police investigation. A government source is now accused of potentially breaking the law by sharing an exchange between Anthony Albanese and the Japanese Prime Minister with 7 News.
The corridors of Parliament ripe for melon melodrama.
What's happened? Has the Prime Minister dropped dead or what? Over the melons. You know this?
Just a bit of fun, apparently, but not when Anthony Albanese is accused of doing it.
It's disgusting what he's done, and he cannot apologise, and that is not leadership.
The Prime Minister denies these gestures, discussing Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's gift of melons were intentionally rude, as his podcast host Nikki Osborne revels in the controversy. Big booty, make it bounce. A controversy now with its own hashtag, Melongate, hitting the Japanese news. As the coalition calls in the police to out 7 News' source after we revealed official correspondence on Monday in which the Japanese embassy said the issue was being sensationalised and Mr Albanese had no ill intention, and a letter from Prime Minister Takaichi expressing heartfelt gratitude for Australia's deep friendship.
It is possible that this disclosure is a criminal offence.
Ted and I have written to the AFP Commissioner.
But I can save the AFP some unnecessary work. In 33 years of covering federal politics, I have never revealed a source, and I'm not about to do it now.
Seriously, the Liberals are losing the plot here.
The hypocrisy from the Labor women like Claire, that is an utter disgrace.
Angus Taylor demanding an apology.
Why won't the Prime Minister stop treating us like fools, man up and say sorry to the Prime Minister of Japan?
The Prime Minister of Japan is a good friend of Australia.
The Japanese embassy tonight issuing a public statement. We've been informed by the Australian side that Prime Minister Albanese did not make the comments in the manner that has been reported. No need to call the police in on that one. It is crucial for journalists to protect our sources, particularly in the fast-changing media landscape bombarded daily with misinformation and disinformation from self-styled online crusaders and half-dressed influencers who are all afforded the same standing as reputable media organisations governed by strict laws, regulators and a code of ethics. Facts today are more important than ever, and we often have to provide the protection of anonymity to reveal those facts. The truth can be inconvenient. Sometimes the truth is a bit hard to swallow, but the truth is always essential, even in an international misunderstanding over melons. Mitch.
Political editor Mark Riley, thank you. A fundraiser for slain Sunshine shopkeeper Van Viet Truong has been shut down after his family revealed they did not authorise it. More than $13,000 had been donated to the fund set up by a member of the public. All donations have since been refunded. Victorian drivers facing hefty damage bills after hitting potholes could soon get financial compensation in a bid to ease community anger. The Labor government won't reveal the number of victims, but RACV data suggests it's far worse than we're being told.
Roadworthy cars driving on uncar-worthy roads.
This was absurd. I mean, for the best part of 2 hours, the expression, I was dodging potholes left, right and centre.
Driving instructor Stephen Stagg has had a front row seat to the state's crumbling road network for decades.
It was so far beyond what you would normally expect from a highway.
Today, new revelations. More than 1,800 drivers have lodged compensation claims for pothole damage over the past 2 years. Just 23 have received a payment, leaving 98% of drivers high and dry.
I've asked the department to look into this legislation to see if it remains fit for purpose in the current conditions.
Part of that, the threshold for claims. Right now, damage has to exceed $1,600.
It shouldn't be needing compensation. We should have the roads fixed.
The penny pinching policy brought to light after more than 30 drivers fell victim to a mega pothole on the Princess Freeway.
Startling that the government only responds to the information
their own information after it's been shown to them in the media.
The government doesn't release pothole data, but the telltale sign is punctures. In the last year, RACV rescued more than 112,000 drivers stranded with flat tyres. Tarneit, the CBD and Truganina topping the list for the most call-outs.
We call on the Victorian government to invest more in the road maintenance.
Tyra Stowers, 7 News.
A group of males armed with machetes remain on the run after a violent home invasion in Truganina. They stormed the property on Fiore Way around 9 last night before holding a machete to the owner's neck and taking off with jewellery. The group was last seen fleeing in a silver Holden Commodore. Barnaby Joyce says One Nation is, quote, one of the gayest parties in Australia. Those comments are off the back of a series of homophobic statements made by a former West Australian One Nation candidate claiming homosexuality is a mental illness.
I don't concur with his views, but I think we're one of the gayest parties in Australia.
Parminder Singh's profile has since been taken down from One Nation's website. An Australian on-board a passenger ferry that burst into flames off Bali has told 7 News he floated for hours waiting to be rescued. The boat was bound for the popular island of Lombok when the fire took hold with deadly consequences.
Huddling in life jackets as black smoke billows from below. Dozens of passengers watch on as flames fill the ferry. Their only escape is a leap of faith into the sea in complete darkness. Among them, at least one Australian.
Get bigger flames. I got on here, the fire. Okay. Just mass big. And then everyone panic and just rip life jacket. Okay. No lifeboats. Okay. No boats.
James Scooth suffering broken ribs, floating for hours.
The swell bigger than that.
You are swimming in the sea?
Just floating.
Launching, okay.
Yeah, 4 hours or so, 4 hours, I think.
By daybreak, rescue boats began the arduous task of plucking passengers to safety. This man drops to his knees with relief. Speechless, this rescuer says, I still feel the trauma. The boat had left from Bali's main public ferry terminal, Padang Bai Port, where tourists often leave for the Gili Islands. This ferry was bound for tourist hotspot Lombok, a larger vessel designed to carry cars and trucks where one passenger claims the fire began. This mother says she only had time to save her child. Tonight, one passenger is dead, more than 100 were rescued. This now the second deadly Indonesian ferry fire in as many weeks. Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs investigating exactly how many Australians were involved. Jacqueline Robson, 7 News.
Assault charges against Bondi Beach terror attack hero Ahmed Al-Ahmed have been dropped after he was accused of assaulting his father in Western Sydney earlier this year.
The law has been served. I'm innocent.
He still has to abide by some court-imposed restrictions. One of the country's most spiteful and nasty celebrity court battles has come to a shock end, with Guy Sebastian's manager finally confessing to ripping off his star client. For almost a decade, Titus Day denied withholding large sums of money until today.
Moments after settling his marathon legal stoush.
How are you feeling today after all settled, the statements come out?
It obviously all just got done really recently.
A battle-scarred Guy Sebastian reflected on almost 10 years of legal fights.
I'm just happy it's over. It's been pretty full on.
The pop star dramatically split from his music manager in 2017. Titus Day accused of taking more than $1 million in royalties and fees.
Did you cipher money from Guy Sebastian?
Now, after almost a decade of denials, today Titus Day changed his tune. During the time I was managing Guy and after it, he said in a statement, I made a number of regrettable decisions. I can see that I had become a poor steward of Guy's income. The former friends reaching an out-of-court settlement for Sebastian to drop his civil claim, admitting there were many instances in which payments that should have been passed on to Guy were not.
Is it a weight off your shoulders?
Yeah, definitely. He's apologised and taken some accountability, and now we just move on. I do wish it got here a long time ago, and I think Titus does as well.
Last year, the DPP said it wouldn't pursue a third trial against Titus Day, and one question now is whether today's admission might change any of that and continue this saga even longer.
I'm just happy it's over. It's been pretty full on.
Andrew Denny, 7 News.
Craig Hutchison's media empire is growing again. Sports Entertainment Group is buying New Zealand's MediaWorks radio network for just over 107 million Australian dollars. Hutchison says it gives his company immediate market leadership in New Zealand and a genuine platform to extend its digital sport and entertainment offering across the Tasman.